We're live.
Hey!
Hello. Let me stop this now.
Says we have one viewer.
Hey,
That's
looky
awesome.
there. Yes. Yes. Let me move this mic. All right.
Hey all!
Episode 2, quality not included.
Yep, welcome to another episode.
Welcome, welcome. Oh, shit. Let me fix
What
my
did our quote say?
What,
Great, another show with early 20-somethings.
Exactly, yeah.
Talking about stuff.
We're just talking about movies, dude.
Need more of those, for sure.
Yeah, it's not like it's an already saturated industry, but,
Mhm.
you know. Oh, well. Yeah, welcome to episode 2 of Quality Not Included.
Again, we've got a just large list of
Topics.
nonsense we're going to talk about. Some really interesting stuff, actually, that we kind of got our hands on.
Absolutely.
Billy, I'm Chaz.
Oh yeah, I'm Billy. that's me. It's been a week. So what do we want to start with?
Well, we're going to start off with what everyone's talking about. Obviously, Barbenheimer. Insane.
They're fucking Scrooge McDucking in the money. Like, they're just diving in the fucking
So
money.
we have so much to talk about. I've got like a literal whole list of just things that we can touch on. So
Yep.
let's just get right into it.
Yeah.
These movies, for what they are, exceeded all expectations.
They made so much fucking
Let's
money.
start with Oppenheimer because Billy, you saw it this
Yes,
week.
I did.
I've still not seen Barbie yet. I'm seeing it tomorrow with my entire family.
It's
So
gonna be
crazy.
Yep.
But Billy, I'll give you the keys in just a second to talk about Oppenheimer. But let's start with what Oppenheimer's done. Opened to $82 million just domestically and $97 million internationally for a 3-hour pure war drama, all dialogue, no action, you know, super serious. Obviously, you know, the Barbenheimer craze played into that.
100%,
Both films
100%.
helped each other. There was a report going around that Barbie tickets were so sold out that Oppenheimer made like an extra $5 million in profit.
Just because people
couldn't see Barbie.
So they just
How
went to see Oppenheimer.
crazy is that?
Yeah. Yeah.
But you saw the movie.
I did.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Uh-huh.
I think it's easily it's in my top 3 favorite films of the year. Easily. I think it's Nolan's best, hands down.
I'm still partial to The Dark Knight, but
I mean, Dark
which
Knight's
is fair.
classic.
Which is
Dark
fair.
Knight's not even my favorite. For me, it was Insomnia.
Fair.
Insomnia
See,
was
I haven't seen that.
was
one,
my favorite. But the Cillian Murphy, Best Actor nom and win potentially. We'll see how the rest of the year plays
Yeah,
out.
he's a fucking
RDJ,
superstar.
definitely. I think he's going to get a supporting actor nom.
Yeah.
We'll see. But what did you think of the movie?
It just. So I talked a little bit about it on the short that we put out on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, if you want to check out our Billy's out of theater reaction on that
Yeah,
one.
so I'm just going to rehash a little bit of what I said during that review. I don't think it's the best movie of 2023 because I watched the new A24 horror movie, Talk to Me.
Which a lot of people are talking about. That's getting a lot of buzz.
Just that movie did more for me than Oppenheimer did. And that's not to say that I didn't like Oppenheimer, because I liked Oppenheimer better than I liked Barbie, but I think both movies are 5-star movies. No, Cillian Murphy, man. Cillian Murphy, this was the first thing that I've seen him in. I know that he was in Peaky Blinders.
That's his big show. He's been in
I may have seen him in something else.
Batman
but-
Begins. He was Scarecrow.
Yeah, okay, yeah, so he was scared. Yeah. So, I've seen him in things before, but this was the first time that I've really seen him in
This is
something
his
that he
first
gets to
time
shine in.
leading a Nolan movie. And clearly Nolan was just like, your time will come. Your time will come.
And he was unbelievable.
He
like,
was, dude.
the-
His I mean, Cillian Murphy, his eyes, that's what it's all about. His eyes did so much acting in this movie.
Well, and that's just something that he's known for, is just his fucking gorgeous
But when you
ass
think
blue eyes.
Robert J. Oppenheimer, I mean, his just dead stare.
It's Cillian Murphy.
Yeah.
And if you look at a picture of the two of them together, they look almost identical. But no, that movie, no pun intended, blew me away. And one of the big things about it that I fell in love with was the sound design. So the scene where they do the test bomb and everything goes quiet
and you just hear heavy breathing.
You just hear
incredible
his breathing.
So I
gave
think,
me chills.
I mean, talk about a win for Nolan. Not only how much money this movie is making, and it is still making money. I think you and I looked it up. It's almost close to $300 million worldwide.
Close to that, and it was $100 million budget.
Yeah. this is Nolan's biggest non-IP opening. Obviously, his Batman movies have had bigger openings, but for a non-IP, like, it exceeded all expectations.
100%.
Exceeded all expectations. But Barbie, dude, Barbie is making all the money.
Yes.
There is still some people in our circles, some of the more higher movie pundits, we're small fry, still think that Mario will still take the lead in total box office.
I don't think so.
With how much money this movie is making, it had the biggest opening for a Warner Brothers movie of all time on a Monday and Tuesday.
Yep.
It has made already $500 million. More, like 572 was the last that Box Office Mojo has calculated, total worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
And it's barely been a week since it's opened.
Yeah.
It's going to reach $1 billion within the next few weeks. And then
100%.
It's just a matter of what it does after that. I think it'll at least get close. I wouldn't be shocked at all if it exceeds and is like the highest grossing film of the year.
Well, I mean, it's been talked about more than I saw Mario being talked about.
Mm-hmm. Mario was an animated kids film that was actually pretty decent.
See,
so like obviously it had its own strengths, and obviously just like Barbie, it's a generational
and it's an
IP.
and it's an Illumination film, and everybody loves Illumination because they did Minions and Despicable Me.
Yeah, they bring money to the box office.
They bring money to the box office.
But Barbie, dude, like, it's a smart film from what I've heard. You loved it.
Oh yeah, I adore
it's a
that
smart
movie.
film. What I've heard, it's a funny film. It's low-key existential. Like it'll hit adults and kids in different ways.
It's hilariously divisive.
Yeah.
Like, I love seeing insecure men shit on the Barbie movie.
What did old Sharpie do? He did
Ben Shapiro fucking burned Barbie dolls.
Dude, conservative Twitter loves Barbie. Yeah, they love Barbie.
But like, it's kind of crazy because you see all of these men being really pissed that men are being treated the same way women have been treated.
But isn't like I'm pretty sure if you actually watch the movie, from what I've heard, again I haven't seen it, I'm gonna make my own judgments tomorrow, but from what I've heard is that Barbie's kind of the villain. Like Ken like what the arc that Ken goes through is like a commentary on the male like masculinity and stuff like that.
Well, so Barbie, there's no villain of the movie.
I've seen someone describe it like Barbie. You could like say she's like the Grinch in a way.
Well, no, because that is your insecure male view coming in there. Like, there's no villain in this movie, really. I mean, so like, and I'm not going to spoil it, but like, there's a good chunk of the movie where Ken plays an antagonistic role.
Yeah.
The reason that people are saying that Barbie might be the villain of the movie is because for a good portion of the film, Ken views Barbie that way.
Okay.
I do not think she is.
Mm-hmm. But Ken goes through a very important arc.
Oh, right? Yeah.
Now,
absolutely.
obviously, like the Barbenheimer meme, like so there are people online being like, how could this have happened? Dude, memes, the internet, it does what it does best. It's unpredictable and yet predictable at the same time. I'm telling you, I think the biggest takeaway for me is that this could have been entirely avoided. This couldn't have happened.
Yeah.
It's the fact that these movies were opened on the same day.
Mm-hmm.
Had that not happened, we wouldn't be talking about it.
Well, a big question that I have is Hollywood going to try to replicate this every year?
I don't know about every year, but they're definitely going to try and duplicate it.
Yeah.
I think it's great in theory of like, we saw some synergy between Warner Brothers and Universal of like, hey, we're both making mega bank from these two films just because we happen to open on the same date. You could see other studios being like, hey, you've got this weird film that is totally different from our film. Why don't we try and open on the same day?
Yeah, package them together.
Yeah, and just let nature take its course. I mean, like, this is going to be studied because this is such a cultural phenomenon. Mm-hmm. And I saw as well, like, what was the last big event film? Spider-Man No Way Home, maybe, was a pretty big event film. All the theorizing, and that movie made like $2 billion.
Yeah,
like,
kind of. I mean, I can't really think of another one in recent memory that was like a big event to go see and people made it their entire personality.
And that's what this film and Oppenheimer has been.
I think before it, the last time we saw it was maybe Endgame.
Like true event film? Again, I still think No Way Home can fall in that category, especially with how much money it made. But like true, like a must-see, go to the theater experience. Yeah, I would say Endgame probably is like the most recent one, and that was years ago at this point. Shout out Greta Gerwig, director of Barbie. Her biggest opening weekend, not only for her, but as a female director. So huge win for women in the industry.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just incredible. Now, there are many different projections of what the second weekend's going to be like. We're already close to the end of the second week, and we're already over 500 mil. And my entire family's going to go see it on Sunday. Like this, yeah, it's going to make $1 billion. It's going to make all the money.
Much money. No, like I said, like all of these executives are going to be Scrooge McDucking and all this money that they're not paying.
And they're going to try and do it again and fail. It's going to be cringe.
Yeah, you know.
Because what makes things like this so special is that it's what's the word? It's natural.
Yeah.
It's what's the word, Billy? It's like it's not synthetic. It happens.
Yeah.
Just entirely on its own. It's not forced. This was a situation that could never have been done on purpose.
No.
It had to happen entirely naturally, and it did. So shifting gears, kind of staying on the topic of, we're going to talk about a trailer. For all the anime heads in, One Piece, one of the longest, if not the longest running anime of all time. It's still going.
It's the huge meme. It's like, oh, you don't have a life, just watch One Piece.
Yeah. I think, what are they, 1,000 episodes?
Oh, they're well over 1,000 episodes.
Yeah.
But like, I think like 30% of them are filler episodes.
Now, growing up, you know, Toonami, you know, I saw some One Piece every now and then. I really like the premise, like the pirates kind of stuff, but it always... I never really liked the main character. He always seemed a little annoying to me.
See, I've never watched an anime to completion. So,
and this is not the one you can just watch. You can just sit down and watch.
I'm not an anime guy. It's just not my vibe. So
obviously, Billy, it's no surprise that live action animes have been
shitty,
hit or miss, to be kind.
It's like the Dragon Ball
Z,
Death Note,
and again coming from Netflix as well, and also from Netflix. Not Full Metal Alchemist. Is it Full Metal Alchemist?
I don't think so.
What was the one they just did?
You'll have to look it up.
I'll have to look it up. But like the track record,
not an anime guy.
The track record has been awful. Netflix.
Yeah, no. The only anime that I've like actually seen several episodes of is an anime called Clanad, and that's because my friend Colton made me watch it.
Cowboy Bebop.
Okay.
Terrible. Ended after one season. Now, for a trailer, it looked fun and it looked faithful. Like you had the main character, his arm, his limb stretching. They had all these different characters from the show in a live action view. It looked fun. The question is it going to be good? Like I think anybody who's going to watch this is going to be highly dubious, just given the track record.
Well, it's a similar thing to like video game movie adaptations. The first good video game to screen adaptation that we've seen was Last of Us, and I don't think we've seen a good.
When you say good, like there have been some fun. Like I enjoyed the Tomb Raider one that back in the early 2000s. Yeah, but
Resident Evil kind of had its own thing. But
true
like
tour de force, like solid quality. Like you could argue The Last of Us is like a part of a renaissance that we've been seeing.
Well. And ones that stay true to the source material too, because you have
still do some things differently.
Yeah, like you know, you've got your Resident Evil movie series, you've got your Mortal Kombat movie series that all take inspiration from the video games, but they never stick to that source material.
Right.
You know, so as someone who's not an anime fan, I'm not gonna watch this.
Yeah, I'm just not a big One Piece fan, so I might steer clear. But I'll be curious to see what the fan base thinks about this. Because on the surface, it looks fun and faithful, at least in terms of design. But, like, is this just going to be a one and done for Netflix like most of their stuff is? I don't know.
I mean, you know, Netflix is the biggest streaming platform on the planet. But you don't really see many good Netflix originals.
Yeah, and just the ones that, like, seem to get...
The ones crowd, that hit.
But the ones that hit, like they never make it past the season one. Very rarely. The only one we've seen in recent times is Wednesday.
King. Well, Wednesday is getting a second season. Tiger King got a second season, even though the second season wasn't great. Another Netflix original that was pretty decent. Well, so they
Tall
did,
Girl got a sequel.
So actually, and we're going to talk about this actor a little bit later when we talk about the Iron Claw movie. But a good Netflix original movie is Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile, the movie where Zac Efron plays Ted Bundy.
But that was years ago.
That was years ago, and I enjoyed it.
When we're talking about recent, just last year, I think Wednesday's the only show that has seen a second season.
And like a lot
and obviously
stuff.
Stranger Things.
That's their big. They're never going to make anything as good as Stranger Things, in my opinion. That's going to be like what they go down in history for being known as. But who knows? This could be like the best thing since sliced bread. So.
I mean, the bar is not high, so it could easily be the best live action anime we've seen. I'm hopeful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, talking about going back to the big thing, the SAG strike, the WGA strike, some more news has come out. Mm-hmm. So we touched on it last episode, but they're like, and speaking of A24, they're kind of geniuses because not only do they still get to they signed an interim agreement with the actors and writers on strike. Now, what does that mean? Essentially, just means that like any independent productions that they're doing, the SAG and WGA have given waivers to allow productions to continue.
Yep.
So while all these big studios, Warner Brothers, Disney, Netflix, are just completely on hold, A24, who, by the way, got Best Picture win last year with Everything Everywhere, they continue to make their movies and projects, one of which we'll talk about later on in the show. But so huge win for A24, not only helping out the strikers, but they're going to get some green in their pocket at the same time.
And think about the message that this sends to those big companies. A24, they're not like small fry, but like
they're easily the most well-known independent studios. Like maybe Blumhouse is up there too.
Yeah, Blumhouse is up there too. But like an independent studio can and is agreeing to what all of these writers and actors are asking for. And if they can do it and still make money and still be productive and thrive.
Like they're the one making money because they're still putting out product. They're making product. Like, you can't say that about anybody else right now.
Yeah. And it's sending a message to these big corporations. It's like, you can do this because we can do this.
How happy is A24 right now? Like they're on a winning streak.
Well, they've been on a winning streak.
Yeah, I mean, but like two of their movies got huge Oscar buzz and won Oscar stuff.
Well, when was the last time you heard about a bad A24 movie? Let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, like some of my favorite films come from them. Mm-hmm. And another big dub for the SAG strike. The Rock has returned to the SAG strike.
Rock the Dwayne Johnson, man.
He gave... Okay. I'm going to put on my tinfoil hat in a minute.
Yeah.
But let's not shy away from how just generous this is. The Rock has given the SAG strikers the biggest donation they've ever seen in their history.
Yeah, and they didn't...
7 figures from what they've said. They won't say the exact number, but it's in the 7-figure
Yeah, they
range.
won't say the exact number. So it's at least $1 million. And a good distinction to make is that this isn't going to SAG after the union. This is going to their foundation.
Yeah.
And what this foundation is, it's like pardon my French, but it's an oh shit fund kind of.
Exactly.
It's like a disaster relief.
Because most people part of the strike are not working.
Yeah,
and are struggling to make ends meet while this is going on. So this is going to help pay thousands of actors that are
exactly. Well, and this is an argument I've seen against the strike. Is all of these people have $1 gazillion. No, SAG-AFTRA has like I think if it's like 107. Yeah, it's like 107,000 active union members.
And like a 1% are the A-listers.
Yeah,
it's mostly like people like you and me, Billy, that are working day to day. 40 hours a week. Mm-hmm. But they're writing and acting.
Exactly.
They're the ones doing all the commercial work and the background scenes, and it's like they're not A-listers,
no.
But The Rock doing this, now I hope someone does this, but for the WGA, because to be fair, I think they need a little more, because the actors have more pull for the strike.
Absolutely.
Because with the WGA just striking, the studios can go on for a while. They can't with the actor strike. Mm-hmm. So I hope we see a generous donation like this, but for the WGA. And the head of the foundation, I think, made a really sly comment that basically said, see other A-listers, see what The Rock did, maybe you should follow suit and also give us money.
Yeah.
Yeah. it's going to keep them going for way longer.
Absolutely. And, it's both bad and good to be an actor right now.
Yeah.
Because, yes, you're on strike and you're not getting work and you're not bringing in money right now. But once these big executives and these big companies finally cave and give these actors what they're asking for, dude, you're like, it's going to be a great
Now, it's
world
fair
for
to
actors.
say, and again, this can be sometimes unpopular. The big talk, like the AI stuff, yeah, give it to the actors all day. Ridiculous crap that the studios are trying to pull there. Obviously, they need more money so they can actually afford health insurance. That's a huge thing too. The residuals in our world of streaming, both sides don't really know what the future holds, and we're in such an infant era of streaming that in just the next 5 years, it's going to be completely different from what it is now.
Well,
so how do you determine the residual issue? You know?
Well, so I saw, and obviously I can't speak to the actual validity of it, but I saw someone who had posted a picture of a residual check that they got from Disney that was literally for $0.00.
We're actually going to be talking about Zoey 101 in a later, just a bit, but I think the dad who played Zoe's father got $0 in residuals, which is just bananas.
It's like, why you spent more money sending the check, like a check reading $0.00 is worthless. You spent money sending it to them for nothing.
Yeah,
it's like at least pay them the postage that you paid. Here's
what we're gonna see, and people are gonna be pissed about it, but we're gonna see just nothing but ads in our streaming. I think there'll be a point where it's not, you pay a certain amount and you get no ads. I think you're going to have a level of ads in all of your streaming services because that's how you generate the funds for residuals to go. The question is that going to happen sooner rather than later? I think that's the one thing that we're going to see that puts this whole situation going on longer than probably predicted because it's such an unknown issue. And again, I said this last episode, you'd think that the studios and actors would be kind of behind the scenes being like, okay, we should probably figure out the residuals issue now so that we don't deal with the headache later. But here we are, But yeah, big ups The Rock. Now my tinfoil hat theory.
Okay.
The Rock is trying to get some good graces right now. He hasn't seen he's seen some box office struggles with Black Adam and whatnot, and there was a lot of drama about that whole thing. Whether you believe it or not, it's not it's still drama regardless. Mm-hmm. I think The Rock. I saw people said the presidential campaign announcement incoming.
He's talked about it.
He has talked about it. I think he's joking, but
I don't think he is.
I wouldn't be shocked.
I don't think he is.
But if history repeats itself, Fran Drescher, the nanny herself, will be our next president. If history repeats itself.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Rock, very generous, absolutely. Big W. Is it a little publicity stunty? 100%. Obviously,
100%. But I mean, no matter what anybody does in favor of the SAG strikes, a lot of people are going to say it's a publicity stunt because they're looking to villainize these people.
It's still, regardless if it is or not, that's money in their pocket. That's going to help them long term.
Absolutely.
Now, funny enough, our next topic that we actually brought up naturally last episode, that we're getting Omni-Man, Peacemaker, and Homelander in Mortal Kombat 1. Okay. Now, you and I speculated, Billy, well, they got to get the voices and the likenesses.
Yeah.
Well, J.K. Simmons himself is voicing Omni-Man in Mortal Kombat 1. Mm-hmm. Incredible. I can't... Dude, I'm getting this game launched. I can't wait.
Yep.
Because I think if you didn't have the voices, it wouldn't hit as hard. Because what people are going to come to that DLC for is to put Homelander and Omni-Man together for the memes of them talking shit to each other before they start kicking butt.
One of the things that surprised me, though, was that they put Homelander and Omni-Man in the same pack.
Yeah.
So Mortal Kombat has always done this where they'll release waves of fighters in packs. And these characters, granted they're different, but they're kind of the same. In their universes, they're Superman.
They're cut from the same cloth.
Yeah, they're they're pretty much the same guy, and It surprised me that they put them both in there, but they've got the likeness for Cena already. So when they did the
if they got J.K. Simmons to come back,
they're going to get Cena.
And I think
I don't know the name.
Anthony Goldstar.
That might be his name. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen The Boys. So.
It's Anthony something. I think he's not far behind either. So don't be surprised if we get announcements for both that they got their voices and stuff.
Yeah,
which is just because J.K. Simmons' voice is not only a great voice, like he's a very well-known actor,
so recognizable.
But like his performance as Omni-Man is what brings that character to the next level. And hearing that in Mortal Kombat is going to be so juicy. I cannot wait.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be really funny.
Now, back from the dead. Futurama has risen once again for an 11th season that I think has started dropping episodes this week. Now, I'll be honest. I have no intention of really watching. I've kind of fallen off the Futurama train a long time ago.
I never got on it.
I thoroughly enjoyed what I saw. Some of the funniest things I've ever seen come from that show. The famous "do a flip" line is one of my favorite jokes of all time.
Do a flip!
One of my favorite jokes of all time. And I'm his friend Jesus. Also one of my favorite jokes of all time. Great show.
Yeah.
Definitely, like, unlike Simpsons, which could just go on till the end of time.
Same thing with South Park.
It's just kind of that, it has that identity. Futurama, like, will this show ever end? Because it always seems to, okay, we're done. Actually, we got another season. Like, every so few years, it's like, we got another season for you.
Well, I mean,
which is great for the fans of the show, but it's like, is it really necessary?
Well, just look at the track record of adult animation. Like, look at okay, so let's look at your big three: South Park, Family Guy, Simpsons, all of which are well above 20 seasons at this time.
Oh, we're pushing 30 for some.
Well, Simpsons is in the 30s. South Park's pushing it. I wouldn't.
Family Guy has the least amount of seasons, but it's up there. Yeah,
and it's no surprise, even with all the stuff that went down with the guy from Rick and Morty. Like, Rick and Morty's going to keep going forever because that show.
Yeah.
That show was another big like cultural thing that took the world by storm. Just adult animation in and of itself. Just
BoJack Horseman, another big one.
Well, BoJack ended though.
Right, because it was like it's not the kind of show that needs to go on for. But as far as like adult animation,
they all go pretty long. Like Big Mouth went for a while.
It's going to finally end, but yeah.
But that's
people hate that show, but yeah.
I watched the first season. That's all I've seen of it. But like it's almost become a trope in adult animation that like you never end. But the thing is, like, adult animation just always makes money. Like it's
that's the thing about Futurama. It's not even like true adult animation. It's more like PG-13. They got some raunchy jokes. They sometimes push the envelope, but it's not very gory.
No.
They don't curse very much.
No.
They don't do things that get them that like TVMA rating like a Family Guy or South Park would.
Yeah.
So like it's a little more, what's the word? I'm losing my words today. But it's very accessible. It can be very accessible to more audiences. But I think the show has said all it needs to say. I am curious, like, why they bothered, especially because there was some drama that the dude that voices Bender wasn't going to get paid enough. Yeah. But then they were like, okay, we'll pay him what he's worth, and I just seemed like it was not worth it, and I don't think anybody's going to really watch it.
I think it's a nostalgia thing.
It is, but it's like they do this every so often. Like it's like, all right, we're done. Just kidding, we're back.
Well, I mean, that's a big thing though with like millennial and Gen Z culture though is we love nostalgia. We love the way that we felt when we were a kid watching these things.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the big reasons why Barbie got made. Was the people who played with Barbies are these millennials that are in their 30s and their 40s, and
see, Barbie's been around since the early 60s.
Exactly, but it really hit its stride, during
the 80s.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that's a big part of this, and we'll kind of touch on that a little bit in our next topic when we talk about Zoey 102, but a lot of it is just that nostalgia, and there's always going to be a nostalgia pop.
Yeah.
A little wrestling lingo there, but people love feeling the way that they felt when they were first experiencing this stuff.
Yeah. So I mean, like, that's great for the fans. I'm sure they're loving it.
Yeah.
But I think it's time to put it to bed. Now, as Billy mentioned, we saw the Zoey 102 movie. Woohoo! We both watched it yesterday.
Dude, it was so fucking good. It was so
okay,
good.
Okay, I'm going to preference this. I never watched a single episode of Zoey 101
I
growing
did.
up.
That was my shit.
wife watched the movie with me, and she loves the show. So she kept me up to date of who's who, what's the drama, what's the tea.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to say this.
It's so fucking
It was
good.
way better than it had any right being,
Yeah,
for a couple of reasons. One, it was cute.
Yeah.
The plot, pretty cliche.
Yeah.
You know, it's your standard rom-com, but with the Zoey 101 characters. But it worked for me for two big reasons. One, it was legitimately cute, very, very sweet.
It was
I
decently
feel like it was a
written,
good
too.
send-off. If you're
Yeah.
a fan of the show, you're gonna love it to death. If you're a fan of the show. It's so well made! Oh my god! There were like 6 times I audibly went, damn, this movie looks so good! Like, so that as we touched on, this movie has gone through production hell. Mm-hmm. Like, they've been trying to get this movie off the ground for years.
They teased it in 2015.
So, it shows.
Yeah,
they had time to
8
make this
years.
movie look good.
They had 8 years.
There were many moments where I was like, this is a beautiful shot. It had really cool cinematography. Like the opening scene where it's going through the... I was like, how much were they paying these, like, editors and stuff? Like, they're going ham right now.
Yeah.
There was a lot of cool, weird transitions. There was one where, like, they went in, like, the mouth and then they're, like, in a different scene. Or I think there was a crossroads sign.
Well, so it was when the car died and they had to walk back and it panned up to the Malibu. It said Malibu 3 miles and it panned past the sign to the front door. It's such a good shot.
Yeah, but like it just looked beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful lighting, smooth cinematography, great editing. Mm-hmm. Everybody looked great when they were on screen. Like the production value of it for a TV straight to streaming movie.
Yeah,
damn, they brought their A game.
You know, and I was kind of talking to Chaz about this a little bit last night when I was watching the movie.
Refill my drink.
But I feel like Zoey 102 is going to be the benchmark for
at least for Paramount.
Well, at least for Paramount, but for these direct-to-TV / direct-to-streaming movies, because it was so beautiful. And, you know, Jamie Lynn Spears, everybody seems to hate her right now, but she did a great job reprising the role as Zoey. But, like, this cast, they still have the chemistry that they had when the show was on the air.
Right.
Like
Now,
they never skipped a beat.
I got to shout out the best character of the movie, Todd, a.k.a. Hugo. What was his name?
Hugo Hemsworth.
Hugo, man! He was the MVP of that movie.
So I think the guy's name was like Dean Geyer or David Geyer. It's something Geyer. I know him from Glee. Because Glee's my favorite TV show of all time.
He's done some Hallmark stuff. Like,
Yeah.
this is his probably biggest project he's done.
Well, no, I still think Glee is probably his most well known.
Well, Glee ended like how many years ago?
Glee ended in like 2013, 2015,
yeah, so
around in there.
In recent times, this is easily his biggest project he's done.
He's 37 and he looks like he's early 20s.
He was hilarious.
He was so good.
He was so funny when he comes in dressed as a bridesmaid for the gal pal session, because it was like, I owe you, and then he comes in. I was like, this dude, I want Zoey to fall in love with this dude because he's ride or die. He's great. Spoiler, I don't know if anybody will ever watch Zoey 102, but apparently he's a murderer too.
Yeah. So there was a little bit of a plot line where one of the main characters from the show, she has a podcast where she's looking for
the number one murder
murder podcast
in America.
Yeah, and she's looking for the Malibu murderer, and it just so happens that he is in the very last scene of the movie.
He's got someone in his trunk.
He's got someone in his trunk, and he's laughing as he slams the trunk door.
He was great. Yeah,
he was great. Yeah.
I mean, like the plot was cliche. The romance between Chase and Zoey was a little rushed, in my opinion.
Yeah,
but it was very sweet, and obviously, like the real. It wasn't even really the focus. The focus was
Quinn and
Logan, who were very cute. I love their dynamic. They do the big callback. My wife was explaining to me I love Quinn and I love Logan.
Yeah.
That whole thing. Fans seem to be enjoying that.
Yeah.
Side note as well, if we're just staying on Nickelodeon, iCarly season 3 had their season finale this week. This show is just getting better and better each season. I think they've really hit their stride. They have their identity. They know what they are. They know what kind of show they are. Spoiler alert again. But we're definitely getting a season 4 because they left on a cliffhanger.
Yep.
We are going to find out who Carly's mom is in the next season. So, like, Carly Twitter is going crazy about it. Or, sorry, Carly X is going crazy about it. If you know all the shenanigans with Twitter right now. Have you kept up with that, Billy?
Fuck it, yeah. It's not Twitter, it's X.
It's X. Woohoo! X. Brand X.
Brand X. You don't tweet, it's called X's now.
And posts. You make posts now instead of tweets. Stupid.
Yeah, it's idiotic.
Yeah, so like Paramount Plus, I mean, like they're not your biggest streamer, and this movie isn't getting any. Like it might be a backdoor pilot for a show, and I'm sure the fan base has watched it. But like their stuff has been not too bad, and if this movie's production value is anything to speak of, I'm even more excited for Good Burger 2. If it's gonna look this good, I hope so. Mm-hmm. So moving on to the different streaming service with Peacock. Now I bum off Billy's Peacock. Billy's graciously given me his Peacock login because I was watching all the Fast and Furious movies.
What a fucking series, dude! Family.
Twisted Metal. Twisted Metal has
beloved Sony IP,
a classic
crash derby, car crash derby. Fucking,
guns and cars, derby racing.
Guns and cars, fuck yeah.
Twisted Metal dropped their now again. I don't know if Peacock original series do week by week or if they do the Netflix model where they just dump it all at once.
I'm not sure.
But season 1 of Twisted Metal, the entire season is dropped this week. I binged the whole thing because I was genuinely curious. A lot of the previews was getting a lot of hate from people. People didn't seem to be enjoying it from the previews that were coming out. Mm-hmm. But I love Anthony Mackie. Love him to death. He's one of my favorite actors working today. And he is the lead character in this. And the girl from Brooklyn Nine-Nine and voices Mirabel in Encanto plays the other main character of this, and Will Arnett voices the clown character Sweet Tooth. So some notable cast people that I really like. It had the writers from Deadpool, which is a film I really love. So I was like, this could be good. Damn, dude, really exceeded my expectations. I came out really loving this. Now, I'm gonna preface this. I've never played a Twisted Metal game. I just know of the IP. I've seen clips. I know it's super zany, really weird, really out there.
Yeah.
But I think I was the target audience for this as someone who's never really played the game but just knows of it and was like, okay, how do you do this in live action? From what I've gathered, it's not really faithful at all to the games. It's clearly an adaptation. Yeah. Now, fan bases hate that word because it's got to be exactly alike or not at all, or don't do it. But when you adapt something, you take elements from it and do something fresh. And I think that's exactly what they did here. They took a lot of elements from the games, notable characters, notable ideas, and created their own story and world out of it. And I think for a TV show of this caliber, because it's very low budget, looks a little CW-ish, but like it's so much fun. It's violent, it's raunchy, the car action's great. Anthony Mackie is hilarious, and his chemistry with the actress I'm missing her name right now, but their chemistry's great. But I've gone on a few, like I've checked out the Twisted Metal subreddit, I've checked out some other forums. They seem to be loving the hell out of it. Like, I think it's like, yeah, this isn't really the show, but if you know or this isn't like the game. If you know the game, how the hell do you do that in live action? Yeah. With some of how zany the characters are and the plot is it's so nonsensical. You already have a pretty non-accessible IP that I think it made sense that we're going to take elements, but we're going to do our own thing to make it a little more accessible.
Yeah. So I'm gonna switch gears a little bit, and I meant to tell you about this when I saw it, but you reminded me when you said this is from the writers of Deadpool. Mm-hmm. Ryan Reynolds himself is reviving Alf, the show from the 80s.
I saw that.
I love that show so much. And now I don't know if it's coming back in long form episodes or if he's just syndicating it or if it's just going to be little vignettes.
Yeah.
But as of like Thursday, it's been confirmed that he's bringing it back. So that was just a little sidecar because you reminded me.
Sidecar, yeah.
Yeah.
Great show. If you love the games, I definitely say give it a shot because a lot of people in the Reddits are like, please get this to season 2 because they teased a lot of more stuff from the games at the end. So it's clear that it's like this season is about setting the stage and fleshing out what kind of world this is. But they're clearly doing a card tournament in the next season.
Yeah.
And they did a lot of they had a lot of pictures of characters. So there's a character from the game called Axel. And his whole thing is that he's a dude holding 2 big monster truck wheels. And he's in the show. Like, they teased him at the end. I was like, how the fuck do you do that in live action? So, like, CG. Please, Peacock, do a season 2. You probably will get barely any views from this because you dropped it all at once in a week. And the buzz going into it wasn't really high, but I think a lot of people who are going to check it out are going to be pleasantly surprised, because I certainly was. So I highly recommend it, especially if you're a Twisted Metal fan. Definitely check it out. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I will definitely be checking out Season 2 when it drops. If it does.
Yep.
Now, switching gears, we're going to be talking about some Marvel stuff here, a couple of our topics. This is more just a speculation thing. Now, Billy, you know me. I'm a huge Daredevil fan. Love the TV show from Netflix. And I was thrilled to death when I heard that they were doing an 18-episode season on Disney Plus of Daredevil, bringing back John Bernthal as Punisher, which is great. William... oh my God, I'm freezing on all the names. Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin. I saw this article, though, like... There's been some rumors of Deadpool circulating that's making a lot of people nervous, especially post Secret Invasion, which we'll talk about in a minute. Basically, there's rumors going around that it's not going to be an 18-episode season. It's actually going to be 2 seasons split into 9 episodes each. Now, if you've kept up with the Disney Plus just shows in general, Blueprint, 6-episode seasons with like 30 minutes each. Barely a 2.5-hour film, that you could do. At 9 episodes, that's more standard. Like, The Boys has about 8 to 9 episodes a season. Last of Us, I think, had 8 to 9 episodes. House of Dragon did too. That's standard in your world of streaming. So 2 seasons out the gate of Daredevil at 9 episodes sounds like, okay, that's not bad either, but it's like, are they going to be 30 minutes each? Are they going to be an hour each? Like, if you're going to do 30 minutes each, I say just do the 18th season together. Now, these are just rumors. There's no validity to them in terms of, like, major trades. But I think everyone has a right to be nervous, just given the track record of Marvel's shows lately, especially on Disney Plus. It's been really hit or miss, as we'll talk about. Now, Billy, I don't know if you've kept up with a lot of the Marvel TV shows.
No, so I'm still trying to do the long haul. I'm still on Loki, so that's where I'm at, because I'm watching everything chronologically. So
you're getting close.
I'm getting close. I mean, I've still got a bit, because I've still got to watch Miss Marvel. I've got to watch She-Hulk. There's a few movies that I've yet to see. I've got to watch WandaVision. So
I've kept up to this point. I've not seen all of Secret Invasion, but I've seen most of it. But I do know how it ended, which I'll touch on. And I'd say you and I are pretty big Marvel fans. I would consider myself a fanboy, and I'm pretty forgiving for a lot of the silly stuff, because I have enjoyed the characters and some of the story elements. This scares me if this rumor has any truth to it, because I wouldn't hold it against Disney if they pulled this. Because when they announced that initially, like, we're doing Daredevil 18-episode season, it's like, holy crap.
Yeah.
That's amazing. But you look at the track record, it's like, what do you mean 18 episodes? Like, what does that mean? And because of the strikes, all production on that show has halted. And we really won't know until next year of, like, what kind of show it's going to be, what's the tone going to be, what the structure of the show is going to be. But again, this wouldn't surprise me, and it does worry me for the quality of the show, especially for, like, if you've hated all the Marvel shows and haven't really liked Marvel's movies lately. And this is a pretty big IP. I mean, the fan base for the Netflix show is massive. So I'm a little dubious going into it.
Yeah.
Now, switching gears, San Diego Comic-Con, I believe, has come to an end. But another thing that I noticed that this just caught my eye, Netflix has their big live action Avatar show coming out. They recently, not too long ago, dropped some first image teases of the cast. The costuming looks great.
It looks great.
Looks great. But the Last Airbender soundtrack is finally being released.
Digitally and on vinyl.
Now, this may seem like small news, but like if you're a fan of the show, the music is one of the most memorable things from that show. Yeah, it's just Avatar's Love. I love that song so much. I used it at my fucking wedding, dude. Yeah. The like on the little kalimba, great. This soundtrack has never been officially
released.
Listenable. Like you have to bootleg it or find it on YouTube or something. Yep. This is huge for fans of the show. Just for how long like this show's been out and how we've never had this great soundtrack. So to come on the vinyl heads, that will definitely. I think you're gonna try and get your hands on a vinyl.
Absolutely, I am.
I think you mentioned too that they're doing something with Iroh.
Yeah. So I don't know if this was something that was announced at Comic-Con or if it was just its own standalone announcement. But so it's not going to be television or anything like that. We're getting a graphic novel series.
Yeah.
Where Uncle Iroh is the main character. I'm all for that.
I mean, yeah, any content. Any content, if you're a Last Airbender fan, is definitely worth checking out for sure. Absolutely. I think this is just a huge win for the fan base because, I mean, again, the music is such a big identity of what makes that show, that cartoon so great. I think it's awesome that now we have an official outlet to support the show and everything. So that's great. On the flip side, though, I don't know if you looked into this, Billy, at all when I sent the notes, but this just caught my eye because it was so funny. But speaking of Marvel TV shows, WandaVision, considered by many to be probably the best Marvel Disney Plus show.
Makes sense.
It's definitely up there in my favorites. But I saw on X lately that a WandaVision Steelbook edition was being released. Now, on the surface, I was like, okay, that's cool. Like, because a lot of these streaming shows are just on streaming. They very rarely are released in a physical outlet. Yeah, it's almost always streaming. You very rarely see like a box set or a DVD set.
Yes. So,
but apparently the big stink is that this Steelbook doesn't include the disc.
So I can see why it doesn't, because the reason that this is being made is for your completionists who like to have their physical copies. Yeah. So this is going to be something that they're just gonna slide the empty Steelbook into their Marvel collection just for appearances.
But they're not. But okay, now it should be stated that this is an official Marvel thing at all.
It's not. No, it's
which makes sense because Marvel does not release their Disney Plus shows on DVD. But it's just such a slimy thing to be like, oh hey, we're releasing this Steelbook edition for you completionists. Oh yeah, but you're not getting the actual reason you want to buy this, which is for the DVDs. Because those DVDs would probably have like behind the scenes commentary and stuff. I saw this and I was like, this is so stupid. It made me really laugh.
But see, the thing is, though, this isn't the first time that something like this has happened. Now, I don't remember the exact video game, but I remember seeing video game pre-orders for deluxe editions that didn't come with the game.
Fallout 76 was a big stink. The bag that it came with was like cheap material. Yeah. All the stuff that it came with were...
But you never got, if I'm not mistaken, you never got a copy of the game with it. You just got all of the additional stuff by buying that.
It's the attitude these days is like, don't bother with that crap. Just get the game when it comes out. Get the product when it comes out. Yeah. Don't worry about pre-orders and stuff. Dude. Like on the surface, this is a cool idea, but like, what were they thinking? Like they're tricking people.
Well, no, not necessarily. If they're advertising it as not coming with the, if they're advertising it as it's not coming with the disc, which it looks
I'm sure they're advertising it now, and I wouldn't be shocked if they got a cease and desist from Disney too, because it's not official.
Well, but see, the thing is though, is where, in terms of like copyright, fan art kind of stuff, where does this lie? Because it's not like.
Yeah.
Yes, they're technically making money off of an IP that's not theirs, but it could fall under fair use. Because, go on Etsy. I'm sure you could find a steelbook of this on Etsy already.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And there's Dungeons and Dragons, man. Like, people use the Dungeons and Dragons logo and they'll make their own custom dice towers and stuff. So, like, I don't think that, unless, Disney's an evil corporation, so they'll probably do it. They'll probably do it, but I don't see this as a breach of copyright, because
you should have seen the memes about it, though. It's just like me when I order my steel box set. They're like... Now, speaking of evil corporations, Netflix and Disney, and I think some others. Netflix is the big one. Kind of touching back on the SAG strikes. The big thing is AI.
Yeah.
Tone deaf is
an understatement.
Is an understatement when I read this, and I've got the job listing right here, a link to it. But Netflix has listed an AI job, like a production job, that could pay up to $900K a year.
Yeah, Disney
has one that pays up to $180K a year.
Yeah.
Okay, look. Obviously, big CEO makes millions every year. Lonely actor makes barely enough and can't even afford health insurance.
Yep.
Obviously, one of these things is not like the other.
Yeah.
This is just a job. But with how big of an issue AI is and how it's one of the big sticking points for the negotiations and the strike happening, what the fuck were they thinking? $900K? You can afford to pay someone $900K to use AI as a tool? The easiest kind of tool you can use to create content?
I'm assuming this isn't a job that's just going to pay somebody to run a software. This is probably a job that's going to pay someone to develop a software.
But you can afford to pay someone to do that, but that's probably not even but you can't pay actors or writers residuals or enough to just afford rent. Come on, dude. Now again, there's probably more behind the scenes we don't know, and this is very surface level. But outsider looking in, this really seems brain dead.
100%.
Why would you in this day and age be and with everything going on, think that's a good idea? I'm kind of flabbergasted.
See, I feel like there is a world where there can be a healthy median between AI-generated art
100%. I'm not one of those people online that is just against AI 100%. Mm-hmm. I feel like a lot of artists overreact to it. I get the concern, but at the end of the day, AI is a tool. Like anything, it's like auto-tune. It's a tool like anything else that can be used, and like any tool, it can be overused or misused.
See, I think a perfect use of this modern AI is the artist Grimes. Grimes has made her voice public use to use AI to replicate her voice. Mm-hmm. And so say if I was a musician right now and I use an AI to replicate Grimes' voice, I can legally release it on Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, whatever, featuring Grimes. She has made it to where and she's making money off of that.
Yeah.
And that's a smart way to go about it, because now she doesn't have to really do the work. But I can see where and Black Mirror kind of touched on this, is okay, yes, she did this, but where does it end?
Where does the line drawn?
Because people could make her say some fucked up shit.
Obviously the big stink is just wow, you could pay someone $900K a year, but can't pay just your writers and actors. Yeah, it's dumb. It's totally dumb. They're really tone deaf on this one. Mm-hmm. But with how it's necessary to have someone that can be a production person for this, because it's such a prevalent tool in this day and age in the industry. But you could have waited. Well, you could have waited, and you could have just had it you didn't have to post it out for the world to see.
Well, so for me, this is more an act of desperation than anything, in my opinion.
You think so?
Well, because say if this strike never ends, then if they're going to want to continue to be successful, they're going to want to lean into AI. So
fuck it. Have someone to... It's you know what, dude? That's kind of genius. That's kind of genius. I didn't even think about that.
It's like, hey, this is how much money.
Do you think this is a contingency plan that they're doing?
Oh, 1,000%.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
This is them wanting to not fall on their fucking sword. This is them saying, hey, cross the picket line. We'll give you $1 million fucking dollars to develop this AI to do what these actors won't do for the pennies that we're paying them.
Yeah.
You know, so this is definitely an act of desperation from Netflix and Disney of, hey, we're willing to pay an exorbitant amount of money to continue to profit. Do you want to come scab for us and do this?
Yeah.
So, but
it's pretty.
Yeah,
I do find it intriguing.
100%.
That Netflix is the one pushing hardest against residuals, considering they're the biggest streamer. But they can afford to pay the $900K, up to $900K, but Disney can only afford $180. I find that very ironic. The irony is not lost on me.
Well, I mean, Disney is the bigger juggernaut.
But when it comes to residuals, like Netflix is like, we cannot afford that. Here's almost $1 million.
Well, and that's yearly. That's $1 million a year that they're wanting to pay someone to develop this AI. When, I mean, obviously I don't know this, like, the specifics of exactly how much like SAG-AFTRA is looking for with residuals, but I guarantee $1 million is gonna close out a pretty decent chunk of what they would have to pay.
So yeah, dumb. What's new? Switching gears again. Me and Billy are very excited for the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. This game, love it or hate it, fan base, love her or hate them. It's a cultural phenomenon. It's one of the biggest games of all time in the
probably the biggest,
easily the biggest horror game
of the 21st century,
of the 2010s, easily.
Yeah, I mean,
now this movie,
it looks so good.
It looks like a lot of fun.
Josh Hutcherson, Matthew Lillard are the two main roles.
It looks like a lot of fun. The Jim Henson Company doing the puppetry for the animatronics. Great choice. Me and Billy will be there in theaters watching it.
Yeah, dude.
We'll do an out of theater reaction and all that good stuff.
Yes.
But the movie's rated PG-13. Oh, God.
It should be rated R, but I see why they're going PG-13. It's because the kids, man. That's the audience for this.
The game isn't even for kids anyway. I can't believe this has become such a kid, like all the young.
Well, it's Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, PewDiePie. That's
Corey
the fan base.
Kenshin,
yeah. But Barbie was PG-13. And it's fucking so good. So what we're gonna be missing out on with
I'm not one of those people. I think I should preface. I'm not one of those people that think, oh, if you make something art, it's automatically gonna be better. With what this movie could be. You want I think you want a little gore of like the animatronics,
but see, you don't get that in the games.
That's true. The game's more psychological.
The game is more psychological, and it never actually shows like so in the.
It's always alluded to.
It's always alluded to, but. That's just with the jump scares, but in some of the 8-bit mini games that you get in a lot of the
they get pretty graphic.
They get pretty graphic in 8-bit.
Yeah.
Which you can do blood and gore in 8-bit and still be PG-13. But I don't see this movie being PG-13 as a negative thing.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't need
It'll definitely help with its accessibility.
It'll help with its accessibility.
Peacock for some reason is dropping this in theaters and streaming at the same time, which that is like the biggest red flag in terms of quality, because almost every film they've done that has not been good. So they clearly don't have a lot of faith in it, but the film has had a rough production history.
But
if it's anything like Zoey 102, we're in good hands, because that movie also struggled to get off the ground.
So the FNAF movie was announced in 2015.
2015.
So it's pretty much the exact same timeline as Zoey 102, because
which is hilarious.
They teased the movie in 2015. So we're going on 8 years that this movie has been in limbo, which kind of makes sense because Scott Cawthon kind of got canceled for some political affiliation and contributions. And so he is no longer, because of his cancellation for his political views, he is no longer in charge of FNAF anymore. Granted, he has a little bit of a say. It's kind of a similar situation to Vince McMahon with WWE. You got a little bit of a say, but you're not there day to day. So
I think that all happened but when this movie was like in production.
Yeah. So but that was a big reason why the movie was pushed back, was because now his hands on it.
See, I didn't know any of that stuff.
Yeah.
What I'm looking for is like, is this gonna have the psychological thrill and horror?
I think so.
Are the animatronics gonna be creepy? Like, cause like these animatronics could be fun because the game is kind of funny in a way because of how silly it can be. But like, I want these animatronics to be creepy. That's the big thing. Mm-hmm. So I'll wait and see. We will be in theaters to see it. We're not going to watch it on streaming. No. So, it needs to be seen in theaters.
Yes.
Now, talking about something not so good. Secret Invasion has come to a close. The season finale. Most of these Marvel shows are one and dones.
Yeah.
Loki season 2 is coming out this October. That's going to be interesting. Let me look up real quick all the Disney Plus Marvel shows.
So you've got like Ms. Marvel, She-Hulk, Loki, WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I think that's it. I might be missing one or two.
Give me just a sec. I'll because I want to like say my thoughts on all of them going into this. No, I don't want.
Just go to Disney Plus. Do you have the app on your phone?
I do have the app on my phone.
Yeah, so just go to Disney Plus.
No, yeah, you're right.
To the Marvel section.
I'm working harder, not smarter.
Exactly. That's what I'm here for. I'm the brains of this operation, Chess.
Okay.
They should just have a section for the shows.
They should.
If not, just go to timeline order.
Timeline order.
You just scroll past it.
Sorry, everyone. This is the big dumb.
Technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties. Okay.
So I think the first one was Loki.
Well, the first one that came out was WandaVision.
Okay. Yeah.
WandaVision, I really enjoy. I think it easily has the highest quality of all the shows. Looks great, well acted, well written, very intriguing. I don't like the ending so much. I'm one of those people that are like, she should not have been forgiven. They like the way the people act, like they'll forgive you. No, she held them hostage for a long time. They hate her, and they should hate her.
Yeah.
Loki, I really loved, and I watched, and my wife loves that one too. We were like binging that as it was coming out. Really enjoyed Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I liked She-Hulk. I liked it okay. A lot of people didn't. I think the comedy worked for me better than most, and I thought the show just had a very unique identity. Moon Knight could have been better. I really enjoyed some elements of it. I thought Oscar Isaac was incredible. I really liked some of the action, but I think again, the running theme for most of these shows. Enjoyed Ms. Marvel. I've enjoyed. I haven't loved, but I've enjoyed most of the shows. The running theme is that most of these shows, 6 episodes, 30 minutes each. They should have just been movies. They clearly were like movie scripts that were chopped up. This is the same problem with a lot of the Star Wars Disney Plus shows as well. Most infamously, Obi-Wan, a fan, did a movie cut of that show.
But the Obi-Wan episodes were like 45 minutes apiece.
Some of them were 30. Like it's not consistent. Like if you watch House of Dragon or The Boys or Last of Us, hour and a half, like they're consistently the same length. They're clearly meant to be a TV show. What I've loved from Disney Plus for Marvel has been the one-shots. Werewolf by Night, Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. Incredible stuff. Easily the best stuff for me. Like I think my favorite Marvel Disney Plus show was Loki. I had to say, but the one shots were great, and I'm like, why couldn't it have just been one shots this whole time? Like an hour and 15, one thing that so much more accessible, and like you could do that for like a character that you're trying to get off the ground for the upcoming movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think that a big reason that they're not just doing movies on it is because they can market TV shows for a longer amount of time.
That's true, but like the scores are in, like they're just not as well. Secret Invasion has ended. It's the worst rated TV show for the MCU. Only 6 episodes, and again they trick you. First few episodes, hour 45. 30. Like, okay. Like, this should have been a movie. I've not watched it all, but I know how it ends. And Billy, it's so dumb. It's so dumb. I don't want to spoil it for you or anybody watching, but like if you've heard how it ends, yeah, even I as a Marvel fanboy would agree it's just dumb. And it really puts a sour taste in your mouth after a great win with Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Great film. So yeah, it's fair to say that Marvel has just been really hit or miss lately. Mm-hmm. And if this, like, everybody agrees that the brand has become diluted, they're doing too much, I think they just need to switch gears. It's a whole topic of discussion. My only critique of the whole thing is that I think fans and people in general have forgotten the history of the MCU, because like when it started, the first few movies weren't like well received. You know, like Iron Man was great.
Iron Man was good.
But like people didn't really love Thor very much. Captain America wasn't loved very much. Like Incredible Hulk wasn't loved very much. Like it was off to a rocky start, but then Avengers hit. Oh man, this is the greatest thing ever.
And that was 11 years ago.
Yeah, that was like this. If we're just now getting Rocky after 30 plus movies and this many TV shows, we're just now getting really Rocky. That's a testament to the quality.
Well, and we're getting Rocky. That's kind of coinciding with James Gunn leaving for DC.
Yeah, and like the DCEU, flop after flop after flop. Blue Beetle's gonna flop. Aquaman's probably gonna flop. They need to come out the park swinging with the new Superman movie. So it's just, I think for superhero films in general, things are...
We're getting kind of stale.
It's getting kind of stale, but that's just because the quality is not there.
Yeah, and...
Even though, like, I really enjoyed the Flash film, despite everything. I enjoyed that film. But
I think a big problem with superhero movies now is that you've kind of already done your big recognizable names.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think your only big recognizable name that never got a good run was Green Lantern.
Yeah, that needs that.
I think a Green Lantern reboot would be
But
good.
to play devil's advocate, Peacemaker, a completely unknown character, now is in the zeitgeist in the pop culture sphere because of James Gunn's portrayal of him.
Well, and also how much of that is Cena too.
That's true, but like it's possible that it is possible that we can take these lesser known characters and make them household names.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's clearly what Disney's trying to do with their current slate of Marvel products. We're dialing into the B and the C and the D listers to make up for the fact that we don't have Iron Man anymore. We don't have Captain America anymore.
And they announced, like, I think by 2030 we're gonna have another Avengers trilogy. So we're going to see the rise of this next batch of heroes.
With the multiverse stuff, like
they can do whatever they want.
They can easily bring back another Iron Man and Captain America.
But like, you know.
But is that going to be good?
It's not going to be good.
And based on the just hit or miss, just be nice. And again, I've enjoyed most of the stuff. I haven't loved all of it, but I've enjoyed it. I haven't hated anything. From what I've seen from Secret Invasion, this will be my first Marvel product that I'm straight up just like, yeah, this wasn't good. Because it's like, it's so ironic. She-Hulk's ending makes fun of what Secret Invasion does at the end. Like, how do you do that? You know, it's really clear that
it's complacency.
They're not firing off on all cylinders.
It's complacency because they've been at the top for so long.
And low key, these strikes are probably a saving grace for Disney, because then they can be like, okay, we can just postpone everything.
And we can take our time to think.
We can really take our time to figure everything out, you know.
And that's why I think James Gunn going to DC is a good thing for Marvel and superhero movies in general, because now Disney's going to have a fire lit under their ass.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, this guy that did so much good for you now works for the competition. You have to do better now.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You have to do better now. And granted, a lot of if that is going to happen is going to be dependent on how good the material is that James Gunn is going to put out.
So the next thing on the docket is Loki season 2.
Yeah.
But that show has its own problems because Jonathan Majors is in court and all that nonsense. How do you market the show? How do you market the show without its main villain?
I mean, did they not recast him?
No, they've not made a decision on him. Period. I think Disney's doing the waiting game right now.
Yeah.
Because like he's been charged, but like he could. Again, the court of law.
Innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah, innocent until proven guilty. The court of law will decide. You know.
But I mean, there's not a good track record with superhero movies and these kind of things
But Loki was a big hit. People love that show.
But like I was saying, there's not a good track record. Like Ezra Miller is still the Flash.
No, he's not Flash anymore. That movie's not getting a sequel.
Yeah, but like he was still promoted as Flash even after all.
But
that
granted, all that shit happened well after the movie was filmed.
Fair.
So like, it's not like this case where, okay, we are going to film some movies with Jonathan Majors. Okay, this all happened, and we're gonna switch gears. But this show is in the can. It's gonna release October. How do you market it? I mean, obviously you've got Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston that you can market it, but like you're not going to have your main villain. The whole point of the show is about Kang. Like, how do you market that?
So I've heard a lot of people saying that they could potentially. So Deadpool is now MCU canon, and I've heard a lot of people say that the TVA is how they are going to write Deadpool into the MCU. He could be caught doing some multiverse shit.
That's a popular theory.
That's a popular theory. So maybe because when are we supposed to get Deadpool? We're supposed to get it like next year, right?
This May.
This coming May. Yeah.
Its production is halted because of the strikes. Yeah. So that could push back.
It could push it back, but they might start planting the seeds for that.
I don't know.
They have to write them in somehow.
Yeah. So that's the next Marvel thing. Like if it's and this is like the track record for Marvel. Period. Mm-hmm. One bad thing. Oh, the MCU's ruined. One good thing. Oh, we never left. You know, it's. I think just most people are like, as Katy Perry said, hot and cold. You know, where we constantly go back and forth for whether we hate Marvel or love Marvel.
Yeah.
To me, I watch everything for the story. I want to see where it goes. I like the characters. I want to see what they do. So I'll watch it just to get the story. But I'm curious how Loki's going to do. Now, our next movie is The Marvels, and as we talked about, given the track record of superhero films this year, with Guardians of the Galaxy 3 being the only, and granted that is the only Marvel movie has made bank,
it's
almost
also
900.
the only good one this year?
Yeah, I mean, I really liked Flash. I put them both on the same level, but Flash made no money. Flash made no money. So I'm really curious how we're gonna end the year out for Marvel at least.
Yeah.
And then obviously DCEU, touching back on that, Blue Beetle's going to struggle, and Aquaman 2 is going to struggle as well.
Yeah. Well, and kind of talking about, like, accusations and Jonathan Majors and all that stuff.
Yes. I felt like...
Kevin Spacey.
We had to talk about this. This is huge. He has been acquitted of all charges. Mm-hmm. Now, crybabies want to say we live in a world of cancel culture and all this thing. Like, look. No one's putting up with bullshit. You are going to be held accountable for your actions, and you will face consequences. Whether it's fair or not, that's a whole other issue.
Yeah.
Kevin Spacey, great actor, part of some of the best films ever made. He's Academy Award winner. You know, he is up till 2017 was a highly revered actor. Well, then some accusations came out. Yep. We won't get into all that nitty gritty, but he was accused of some serious stuff and was taken to court. Now, what I find interesting is that he was taken to court in London. And this is the same stuff that happened with Johnny Depp. And he was found guilty in London, innocent in America. But now Kevin Spacey has gone to trial twice and has been proven innocent, or has been declared innocent both times. So whether or not he actually did anything, that's not the discussion. The discussion is, what does he do now? Because the damage is done.
The damage is done.
Any studio, unless they really just want the publicity, like, because all publicity is good publicity, a studio could be like, yeah, let's hire Kevin Spacey because our movie name will be in the headlines for weeks because we hired him. But also on the flip side, it's like, yeah, the baggage you bring is way too much. Like,
I mean, I don't know, like... I mean, has Johnny Depp gotten work since the trial?
Nothing major as far as I'm aware. You know.
Yeah, and obviously Amber Heard's probably never going to work again. But like, this is the thing with cancel culture, and it's a touchy...
Now this isn't like I said something stupid on Twitter and someone dug up my tweets.
Yeah,
I was accused of sexually assaulting young boys. Like, that's as bad as it gets.
But this is your the weird thing with cancel culture is it's both a bad and a good thing, because whether or not someone actually did the things that they are accused of, the accusation kind of ends their career.
Yeah.
Whether or not it actually happened, you're just out of favor. And a lot of that is just kind of like Twitter culture or X culture now.
Yeah, well, because everything's so accessible to us. We have it at the touch of a button, you know.
And it's such a touchy topic to have an opinion on, because it seems like no matter what your opinion on cancel culture is, it's the wrong opinion.
Yeah. Well, and it's really I get where it's coming from, because like for far too long, us as a society has let crap like this they get away with it. Now we're like on the exact opposite of the spectrum, where nobody's getting away with anything.
Even if you didn't do it,
didn't do it, you know. But like, so regardless of that, if you're Kevin Spacey, I was proven innocent in a court of law twice. Give me my career back. I don't know if it's going to be that easy for him. And he's in his 60s now.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's done, dude. If I was him, I would just retire. I would just be like, hey, my legacy is fixed, I think, you know. I'm just not going to deal with it anymore. That's what I would do if I was him.
Yeah, and that's just the whole thing, man. Like, even if you're innocent, once you're accused of this, you've got that baggage.
Especially if it's something as serious
if it's something as serious as that. And now, granted, there have been people...
There's been comeback stories,
There have been comeback stories, you know, but... You know, with him, with his age...
It's going to take some time. It's going to take at least like a decade before it's like, Kevin Spacey is back as this character, you know.
House of Cards, next season.
Getting to a more lighthearted thing, Billy sent me this.
We're getting Shrek Mario Kart.
There seems to be a theme of like Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl or whatever. Like these games are coming out.
We got our Cartoon Network Smash Brothers thing. Now we're getting DreamWorks Kart.
A kart racing game with like Kung Fu Panda,
Shrek,
all these DreamWorks characters in a kart racing game. Look, this is just funny. This is just funny. And you know what? It makes sense. Yeah. On the heels of the success of Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, and the prospects of a new Shrek, why not? Why not a racing game? It's probably going to be butt cheeks, but I mean,
we got like a Crash Bandicoot racing game. We've had our Sonic racing games. So I see this as a good thing, because Mario Kart has been the same for like the last 20 years.
And yet it always sells well.
It always
sells well.
Yeah, but like there's no innovation with the racing games anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think the last good like racing game innovation was Forza when they did Horizon. And those games are beautiful. I don't know if you've played any of the Forza Horizon games, but they're beautiful. But I'm hoping with DreamWorks dropping this now, it's probably not going to happen because Nintendo is such a fucking juggernaut. But, you know, hopefully a little bit of competition will stoke the flames a little bit, and say if Nintendo decides to release a new Mario Kart, we'll get some innovation and we'll get some new stuff. But yeah,
my only problem with it is like fun. The roster. Because we've had, like, racing games with these characters before.
Let's look at the roster.
Like, obviously, I'm racing a Shrek. Yippee. There's, like, a ton of games where you can do that.
Yeah.
I don't think the DreamWorks character roster really makes for fun options for racing games. So I just don't...
Screen Rant posted every DreamWorks All-Star Kart Racing characters that were revealed. Shrek and Donkey.
Obviously. That's no-brainer.
Okay, Puss in Boots and Wolf.
Okay.
Hiccup and Astrid.
See, like, I don't think that fits, if I'm being honest.
Poe, Tigress, Master Shifu, Master Oogway, and, all from Kung Fu Panda. So Mr. Wolf from The Bad Guys.
Ugh.
We're getting Boss Baby.
Oh no, the memes.
Megamind.
Okay, that's fine.
Madagascar characters, they haven't been confirmed, but they may appear. And Poppy, Branch, Barb, and Cooper from Trolls.
The Trolls.
So
like a mixed bag, if I'm being honest.
Dude, it's they're gonna put it on Switch. I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, I see this as maybe like a Switch PlayStation exclusive.
Look. Does it make sense with like the role DreamWorks on? Yeah, why not? But like, I feel like the roster isn't going to be the strongest.
No.
Now,
it's going to sell.
If the gameplay's great,
I mean, it's
well done.
It's not going to be a chart topper, but I definitely feel like this is going to.
It's going to have its own little fan base. They're going to love it.
And I see this as a game where, like a grandparent is buying their kid like a Switch for Christmas and needs to know what kind of games they can buy for their kids to play. And
that's fair.
I see, you know, because your games that fall into that, you know, are like your Pokemons, your Animal Crossing, your Mario Kart, your Mario games in general. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know how recent this was, and it's just kind of talking about all this stuff. We're getting Super Mario RPG remade for Switch.
Yeah, that's huge. That's what a dub, because people have been wanting that for years.
In my opinion, and I know you probably disagree, but in my opinion, it and Paper Mario Thousand Year Door and Super Mario Sunshine are the 3 best Mario games, in my opinion.
Yeah, I disagree.
In my opinion,
I disagree.
But that's huge too. So, you know, there's some good video game news there. And speaking of other game news, kind of going tabletop game a little bit. D&D sequel possible? D&D sequel movie possible?
Well, me and Billy have been saying this for a while now.
They made money.
This movie didn't make money at the box office.
No.
It was close. But it didn't reach a profit. But it was well acclaimed. Audiences and critics loved it.
Yeah,
it's easily one of the best films to come out this year. It was so much fun, practical effects. It really a love letter to the game and the mythos,
but
and just a fun movie in general.
And the thing about Dungeons and Dragons is there's so much lore that you will never run out of content.
Yeah. And you don't have to stick to your same cast. You can always have a different cast each time.
Exactly.
Different classes and characters.
And D&D is as big as it's ever been. With Critical Role, Baldur's Gate 3, the game is about to drop.
Coming out soon.
One D&D, shit's happening with one D&D. You know, people are talking about a potential of another Pathfinder.
So the chief of Paramount basically said, a sequel is definitely possible. We just need to reel in the budget. If we do it again, we need to reel in the budget.
Yeah.
But I think they know with how well received the film was, and I'm sure if it's had a decent life on streaming, they know if we can keep it a little under budget but still have a quality product, we're going to make way more with the second one than the first one. And then they'll have a franchise because they're like, okay, we can just keep doing these.
And something that would be really smart that they could do is treat it like a Dungeons and Dragons game and almost treat it like kind of like American Horror Story. Keep these same actors, but make them play different characters.
Yeah.
Every time, because with
you
Honor,
could do. There's so many possibilities.
And with Honor Among Thieves, you know that party had an ending to their story. Now, you know, in my opinion, the star of that film was Sophia Lillis. I loved her.
I think it was Chris Pine. He was great.
Yeah, Chris Pine was great too. But like Sophia Lillis, she's one of those actresses that it would not surprise me if she got an Oscar nod at some point in the near future.
Mm-hmm.
She's
up and
good.
coming. Yeah,
she's just that good. But you know,
I thought you were going to say Oscar nod for Dungeons and Dragons. I was like, Billy,
no.
I mean, like the female competition this year so far has been pretty light. So like,
she might get a best
with Barbenheimer. Anything's possible. Crazier things have happened.
But no, I think that would be so smart because there's so many sources from.
And you could
Curse
have,
of Strahd.
You can call up
Baldur's
Matt Mercer
Gate.
and be like, Matt,
dude, but the thing is though, like Critical Role.
But see, they've got a good thing going on Amazon.
With Amazon, but that goes to show that there's a market for Dungeons and Dragons material.
Yeah. I think this is all but confirming that like we will definitely get a sequel at some point. I think just. The question is like, what's it going to be in terms of its quality? Yeah. Like, I really hope they still keep up with the practicalness that the film did, because seeing an Aarakocra or a Dragonborn in live action with practical, I was like, you don't just do the CGI crap. That gave the film such a unique identity.
It did. If they do a sequel and they're wanting to reel back on that budget, I could see them just not having an Aarakocra or Dragonborn presence.
Yeah.
They could stick with your halflings, your elves, your humans, which would.
But we'll see. I think even though like they need to approach it like we won't make big money, but we'll definitely make a profit this time around because they know it's been well received. But if you want that sequel, keep watching on Paramount Plus. That's what you need to
do. There's so many like things in the Dungeons & Dragons zeitgeist that they could make a Dragonlance movie that would do so fucking well. Like, I'm a huge Dragonlance fan. They recently got their first Dungeons & Dragons book with Tyranny the Dragon Queen. We got the Kinder race that's in there now. But, like, there's so much, like, I own, like, 8 or 9 Dragonlance books, and there's, like, well over 50. because Margaret Rice and Tracy Hickman are the two co-authors of Dragonlance. Like, they wrote so many things that, and they're owned by Wizards of the Coast and D&D now. Like, there's so much that you could do. There's so much that you can do with characters that are recognizable and storyline. Like, it's just, they're sitting on a gold mine.
It's an untapped,
They're sitting on a gold mine, but they're too afraid to spend the money on it.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, like, that's the problem with Hollywood in general, where we got to reel in our budgets.
Well, so here's something smart that I think they could do. Partner with Critical Role.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Kickstarter for Legend of Vox Machina did like $7 million.
It is easily one of the most just insane moments in internet history of like how quickly they reached not only all their goals but surpassed all their goals.
I'm pretty sure they hit $1 million in like 2 days. Their goal was like $75,000, but they hit $1 million in like 2 days.
But because of that, we're getting
we're getting Mighty Nine animated. We're getting a third season of Legend of Vox
and a
movie.
Great stuff. It's good. It's a good time to be a D&D fan.
Mm-hmm.
Now, keeping on the video game topics, this just caught my eye. This is all rumors and speculation, but there is some credibility to it a little bit, where Rockstar has been changing their website around a little bit. But there are whispers that we might get a Red Dead Redemption remake.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what does that mean? Does it mean it's just they're going to re-release the original game, but with like an
updated graphics? I can see that, yeah.
Or are they remaking the game so it has the same graphics of R2, but with it's the first game? And maybe with updated dialogue to where like they mentioned Arthur and stuff, because that's a big thing about the two games is like they feel very connected, but it's always odd that like they never mention Arthur in the first one.
So what was so we got Callisto Protocol. What was the other? It was the big video game. You're in space with the aliens. It's not Mass Effect. It's the other one with the mask and the
Dead Space.
Dead Space. So they remade Dead Space from the ground up.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't surprise me if they did it, and I think they should, because Red Dead Redemption 2 just blew everybody's expectations out of the water.
Yeah, easily one of the greatest games ever made.
I mean, Jack Black wants to do a Red Dead movie. You know.
Well, Jack, yeah.
he wants to do a Red Dead.
I think this is a no-brainer. I think this is a no-brainer. It just puts more money in Rockstar's pocket.
It does, and you know,
even if they just re-released the same game, but just like on an HD format,
I could see them doing that.
Like even if they did that, that would be great. But if they remade the game.
See, I think you know the game still holds up gameplay wise, and so like Square Enix and Disney, when they re-released Kingdom Hearts, when they released Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 and all of the remake games for PS4 and PS5, they kept everything there, but they just updated the graphics, and it was so well received. Mm-hmm. I could see them just doing a graphics.
Honestly, like we're in a golden age of remaking games, which is so funny because like we never really have that in Hollywood, but video like Tony Hawk Pro Skater remake, Battle for Bikini Bottom remake, Crash Bandicoot remake, Spyro remake. I mean, like we've been seeing just a renaissance of updated games, classic games, but for like an updated consoles and generations, and it's almost always been pretty good. Yeah, pretty good.
Well, and see, a lot of these games, especially with like the way that the culture is now, is that people are afraid to play a game with bad graphics.
Yeah. You know, which is always bizarre to me, considering Minecraft is still the #1 bestseller.
Yeah, but we'll see, Minecraft, that's the whole aesthetic. But you know, take a game like the OG God of Wars. That's another remake that they've been doing.
Yeah.
You know, like all of these games, and I'm surprised they haven't done it with Shadow of the Colossus yet.
Well, that was never a popular game. That has just had a strong cult
fan base. Yeah, but like all of these games that like kids they don't want to play because they're, you know, and this is me kind of like being the old man shaking my fist in my yard. but it's like but I get it. You're so used to the quality that you have now.
Yeah, no, we're getting to the point where it's like these just look like movies. They'll never look like.
I mean, have you seen some of the stuff that Unreal Engine 5 has been able to do?
I think this is great. I think with Rockstar teasing it in subtle ways, I wouldn't be shocked. I hope it's true. And I hope it's not just hey, we're re-releasing our Red Dead 1 with just like an HD format so you can play on your big TVs. No, I hope we are remaking this game from the ground up.
Yep.
With updated dialogue, updated graphics, updated gameplay. The world will go nuts. The world will go nuts. All right, well, wrapping up today's show. This is a topic that Billy really wanted to talk about.
Oh yeah.
So we'll end on a high note here.
Well, it's not really
it's a depressing note,
it's a depressing note.
But for people interested in the story, I think this is a pretty cool thing.
So we, over the week, we got our first look at the movie The Iron Claw, starring Zac Efron. If you're, most notably Zac Efron, or if you're a wrestling fan like I am, it's got MJF in it, and Chavo Guerrero Jr. in it. Which you know Chavo Guerrero, yeah. But so The Iron Claw is it's almost like a biopic about the story of the wrestling family of the Von Erichs, which a
very famous and infamous wrestling family.
The Von Erichs,
the early age,
the early and golden age. Like the Von Erichs are held to such a high standard, like especially in the wrestling zeitgeist. Like you take families like the Harts, the Rhodes, the Guerreros, now kind of the Mysterios. Like the Von Erichs are like heralded, and their story is tragic. Like, it's a family of a bunch of brothers that all became professional wrestlers, but all of them, save for Kevin Von Erich, have died tragic deaths.
Yeah.
Like at the age of 6, one of their brothers died from electrocution. In like 1984. One of the brothers died in Japan for unknown circumstances. 3 of the brothers within a 6-year period all committed suicide. Leaving Kevin Von Erich as the last remaining Von Erich, and that's who Zac Efron plays in this movie, is Kevin Von Erich. So
I wouldn't be shocked if he's our main character, and we're seeing the events of this family through his eyes.
But
I wouldn't be shocked if that's kind of the direct, since he's the only one that's still alive today.
Yeah, and the first look was just a picture of the.
It's all them on a fence post. Just look like they got the aesthetic, the clothing from that era. Yeah. For me, the most notable thing is that this is being released December 22nd.
Yes.
So we're
right around the corner.
Right around the Oscar season. So this they might try to get some Oscar buzz with this because it's such a bountiful story. And
we're kind of on the rise in people taking, 1, wrestling seriously, and 2, wrestling history seriously. And I think a lot of it started with 2 things. One was the movie that The Rock did with Florence Pugh called Fighting With My Family. Mm-hmm. That movie was great. Florence Pugh was amazing in it. It was a true story.
That was one of her first big movies, too.
And it was based off a documentary of the same name about the wrestler Saraya, otherwise known as Paige in WWE. Great movie. And the other thing is the Vice/Hulu series Dark Side of the Ring.
And don't forget The Wrestler.
The Wrestler,
a film that brought Roddy Piper to tears.
Yeah,
because of how brutal and honest it was about the wrestling experience.
Yeah, and another thing is like we're seeing a huge spike of wrestlers turned actor. Starting with like The Rock, John Cena, Dave Bautista. Now Roman Reigns has stepped in with Hobbs and Shaw. MJF is stepping in. Same thing with Chavo Guerrero in Iron Claw.
Yeah, it has always been held like, oh yeah, we love wrestling, but like it's really being in this. It's seeing a new light of people being like, oh yeah, I've always loved this.
So like for so long, wrestling has been viewed as like the ugly redheaded stepchild of the entertainment industry, because for so long it's like you say, oh, I'm a wrestling fan.
It always seemed like a kiddie thing. You'd see kids with their John Cena backpacks and stuff.
But I mean, but like the big thing is like you say you're a wrestling fan, and the first thing people say is, oh, that's fake, right?
Yeah.
It's like it's almost like a taboo thing to like wrestling, but now, especially since AEW has really started. And you've got your head of the table, your bloodline storyline with WWE. Like you're getting people that are finally looking at it and seeing that like they're just kind of good.
And as you said, there's such a rich history that you can draw for great storytelling for movies.
And that's the big thing with Dark Side of the Ring is obviously Dark Side of the Ring definitely they focus on the dark side of the ring. They did a 2-part episode on the Benoit tragedy. They talked about Brian Pillman, Owen Hart's death. They did an episode on the Von Erichs, and where they interviewed Kevin Von Erich and told the whole story.
I really hope this movie isn't just super depressing the whole way through. I really hope there's because the Von Erichs are held in such a high regard. I hope they touch on that of like, hey, all this. I hope the movie's theme is like within tragedy, there's always
Yeah,
there's always what's the phrase? Within tragedy, there's always like
a silver lining.
A silver lining where it's like
yeah.
They went through all this, but it wasn't in vain. They are considered one of the greatest families in wrestling.
But see, the thing is that they, the Von Erichs were always like when the Von Erichs were on, it was must-see television. But they never reached like the apex of wrestling. Mm-hmm. Like if I'm not mistaken, we never had, and obviously you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm no like big historian, but I don't think a Von Erich was ever a WWE champion or an NWA champion. Yeah. Maybe an NWA champion.
I hope this movie isn't just super sad the entire time. But I really hope they touch on all the aspects, but also show that, like, it sucks that this family's gone through this, mm-hmm. but, their legacy is still there.
And I hope this is a launching point for more movies to be made about wrestling history. Because there's so many, like...
Dude, especially pre the WWE taking over, like, monopolizing it.
Yeah, you could make a movie...
There's so much history there.
Make a movie about Bruiser Brody, or make a movie about Flair. Like, Peacock released Woo, the Ric Flair story, which is, it's a 2.5 hour documentary.
See, there's so many great documentaries, but like, there's not, like you said, like I think you're going to see a surge of, whether they're big hits or not, but I think you're going to see a surge of like bringing to life biopics of all the wrestling history. Yeah, because it's such an untapped, mm-hmm. Kind of like D&D. It's such an untapped thing where there's so many great stories you could tell.
And this could be Zac Efron's chance to like prove that he can be a dramatic actor.
He's shown he can. Like, okay, not a lot of people liked it, but like The Greatest Beer Run Ever was an okay movie, but he was great in it. Well, he carried that film 100%. And whether he's a good actor.
Well, and whether or not you agree with stuff being made about serial killers, one of my favorite Netflix originals is Extremely Wicked, Shocking, Evil, and Violent.
He's good in it.
He's so fucking good in it. And, we're kind of in that era where these Disney/Nickelodeon stars are really, like, starting to make their own. Like, Miranda Cosgrove's great.
Shout out to Josh Peck. He got the bag. He had, like, a couple lines. He had a couple lines, but, like, he got to drop the bomb first off.
Shout out to Zendaya.
Yeah, well, Zendaya's been making moves.
taking over the fucking world.
She's making moves.
And so I'm hoping the Iron Claw is when people really start to take Zac Efron seriously as a big name actor. I think we'll know
depending on how if it's seen by people, if people go and watch it.
Well, so I think people will because it's an A24 movie. So
film buffs like you and me will definitely keep our eye on it.
Yeah,
but like obviously it's not going to make box office money.
No,
but December 22nd. I mean that's
right around the corner.
Right around the corner of Christmas time. So a lot of people will be out of school and out of work. So they'll be like on their breaks. Mm-hmm. So like the film might see some success a little bit, but it's definitely gonna be. It's clearly and let's hope we get some awards with this one.
And once it really starts getting trailers out there and stuff, you're really gonna see it promoted a lot on AEW television because the AEW World Champion MJF plays one of the main Von Erich brothers.
Yeah. So that'll be good publicity for
Chavo Guerrero, who is still under contract with AEW. He's also in it. He plays the original Sheik. Not the Iron Sheik, which a lot of people get confused, but just the original Sheik. But that's when you're really going to start to see it, because like they did, like AEW did a lot of stuff with Shazam: Fury of the Gods. They did a lot of marketing for it. But you're like once
that's not a good example because that movie lost hella money. That movie bombed big.
but no, you're really like once you start getting trailers out, you're really going to start seeing it pushed on on TNT and TBS because like Turner Broadcasting is fucking huge.
Yeah. So I'll definitely check it out.
I'm over the moon excited for this movie.
This is definitely more for you than it is for me. But I like Zac Efron, and I really like...
wrestling history.
I like seeing wrestling history brought into a biopic world. I think it's definitely an untapped market. So I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah.
Well, that'll do it for this...
little shorter episode this week, closing in on 2 hours. But I mean, we talked about everything we wanted to talk about.
We talked about a bunch of stuff. Yeah. Again, we're going to try and do Saturday, 6 p.m. This will be uploaded to YouTube and other stuff. Probably closer before we stream again, just so that you you all have a reason to actually come and watch us.
Incentivizing viewing the live show for sure. And, you can come in and interact with us too, because once we start
please, we love your input on whatever we're talking about. You don't even have to donate if you like shoot in the live chat. If you ever watch us live, definitely shoot in the live chat just like your thoughts on whatever we're talking about.
Yeah.
Whether we agree or disagree, like we want
that dialogue.
We want to see all the angles that we might have
Absolutely.
missed, or we might have missed some information that's crucial.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
definitely just give us a follow, subscribe, do all the good stuff.
Faux show.
This is Grandpa and Skater Boy.
Skater Boy. Yeah. So, we're signing off for now, but we'll be back next Saturday probably.
Yeah, hopefully.
6 p.m. roundabouts.
Same time.
Yeah, same time, same place. So.
All right, Billy, it's been a good one.
It's been a good one. Bye-bye.